Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video, we're going to be showcasing some amazing battles in the Open Great League from the Pokemon Go Lille Regional Champion, Galaxkobolten. Galaxkobolten recently reached number 15 in the world on the global leaderboards, using, of all things, a Great League Shadow Magnezone. For the team, he was running Shadow Magnezone with Trevenant and Gligar in the back. Magnezone, of course, weak to counter, so he has two Pokemon in the back that do have a resistance to counter. And oh my goodness, I don't think I've ever seen Shadow Magnezone look as powerful as when Galaxkobolten uses it. Hopping into the first match here, picking up an absolutely terrible lead, Shadow Magnezone into Surfetched. We are going to see an immediate save switch into the Trevenant, opponent responds with Lickitung, and everything is going wrong in this match. We're going to see a hard counter on the lead and a pretty terrible matchup on the swap as well. Trevenant taking super effective damage from the Licks. Lickitung's energy is walled here. Lickitung is going to be firing off the single resisted Power Whip, and that is going to get Trevenant into a range where Trevenant is going to get farmed down. Trevenant going for a Seed Bomb here. Seed Bomb is going to connect, but Trevenant is going to run out of HP, and Lickitung leaves with quite a lot of energy. In comes the Magnezone. Magnezone getting a Volt Switch as the opponent fires off the Body Slam. Magnezone continues to farm. Opponent is going to aggressively switch into the Surfetched, so that shows that they probably have a second counter to the Magnezone as their final Pokemon. Surfetched goes for the Leaf Blade. We do see the shield by the Shadow Gligar, and Gligar is going to be firing off the Aerial Ace. Aerial Ace will secure the knockout. Do we see the final Pokemon? No. Back in comes Lickitung, and Lickitung is going to have to give up a shield as Gligar makes it to the Aerial Ace. Aerial Ace is shielded. Lickitung has energy, and it's trying to get chip damage onto the Gligar. Gligar is going to no-shield the Body Slam. Can Gligar potentially get to a farm down here? No, the Lickitung able to hang on with a fraction of HP and grab the final shield from the Gligar. What do they have in the back? They have Skeledirge, so this is their second counter to the Magnezone. Dig forces the shield, the switch, into the Magnezone, and Magnezone makes it to the Wild Charge. This will be massive damage, nearly one-shotting. The Volt Switch registers before the Incinerate, and Galaxkobolten takes the win. We've got a battle of electric types in the next match, Shadow Magnezone versus Charjabug. This will be a battle of resisted damage, resisted X-Scissors from the Charjabug, and the Magnezone firing back with the Wild Charge. X-Scissor connects for a resisted move that does quite a lot of damage. Magnezone farms up to the back-to-back Wild Charges and wins Charge Attack priority over the Charjabug. The Wild Charge connects, that does big damage, but now the defense has harshly been debuffed. We will see a shield from the Magnezone, preserving that energy for later, and save switching into the Trevenant. Opponent sends in Lickitung, but this time Trevenant does have that 2 Shadow Claw head start, as the Volt Switch that it took from the Charjabug doesn't really do much of any damage. So the question will be, is Trevenant going to be able to make it to a third Seed Bomb? Lickitung, as always in this matchup, is going to be firing off that Power Whip as it is single resisted, and Trevenant, oh, this is going to be extremely close. It might come down to the difference of one fast move. The Seed Bomb connects. Trevenant makes it to another Seed Bomb with 1 HP remaining. The Trevenant is going to get the Lickitung low, and now down a shield, but going to send in the Gligar and look to try and get ahead on energy. Lickitung is going to be firing off energy. They go for the Body Slam. Lickitung is going to switch out. In the back, it's Registeel. Oh my goodness, Shadow Gligar going for a bait here. This is a big call in the match, and the Aerial Ace bait is shielded. That's a huge play. Gligar continuing to farm. We will see the no shield here. Registeel's standard moveset of Zap Cannon and Focus Blast are both resisted, and now we see the switch into the Magnezone. Magnezone at the back-to-back Wild Charges. Registeel has almost no fast move pressure here. The Wild Charge connects. That does massive damage. Magnezone looking to commit a shield. Oh my goodness, as Registeel fires off the Focus Blast. Magnezone looking for the farm down and gets the farm down. What a play. Magnezone has so much energy now. What is the opponent going to send in here? They send in the Charjabug, hoping that maybe if they shield, the Volt Switch will KO. They shield, the Volt Switch does KO, but there's stored energy on the Gligar. Gligar picks up the knockout with the Aerial Ace. All that's left in the back is the low health Lickitung, and that's a good game. Hopping into the next match, picking up a bit of a tricky lead, Shadow Magnezone versus Guzzlord. Guzzlord, of course, is the absolute worst nightmare for the Trevenant in the back, but it's not a particularly comfortable matchup for the Magnezone either. Magnezone is going to commit the shield as the Guzzlord baits with the Dragon Claw. Magnezone over farming and going for the Wild Charge. This is resisted, but it's still going to do quite a lot of damage. The Wild Charge connects. Magnezone tries to go for Charge Attack priority, but instead the Guzzlord is going to go for the extra fast move. Magnezone's defense has been harshly debuffed, but we will see the Guzzlord actually throwing a charge move there as it was starting to run out of HP. In comes the Gligar. Gligar unable to get the farm down as the opponent is going to be able to make it to the last second Dragon Claw. Hopefully with the Guzzlord out of the way, Trevenant can do well in the back, and so far so good, as the opponent is going to send in Lantern to the Gligar. Dig is shielded, aggressive switch into the Trevenant, and it's a Tentacruel in the back. Tentacruel down energy and down a shield. Trevenant firing off the Shadow Ball. That does big damage to the Tentacruel. Tentacruel continuing to farm. Tentacruel only going to get to one move here. We do see the no shield from the Trevenant as it's the Scald. Scald does not get the debuff. That is absolutely massive, as now Trevenant is going to be able to inflict big damage with the Seed Bomb, and Seed Bomb should be able to two-shot here. Oh no, but we see the farm down. We see the Spark farm down from the Lantern. Lantern will be able to make it to 2 Surfs, and the opponent, against all odds, takes the win. Hopping into the next match, and we've got a battle of Magnets, Shadow Magnezone versus Shadow Magnezone. Now, both Galaxkobolten and the opponent here, Danky-chan, do compete in the Pokemon Go Regional Championships in Europe, so it's definitely possible that they may have discussed strategies. So this very well could be a match of mirror teams. Opponent went for the Wild Charge, it gets shielded. The Mirror Shot bait is no shielded by the opponent. What a call. We now see the switch into Trevenant to catch the Wild Charge, but that still does massive damage. The Magnezone gets knocked out, opponent sends in their own Trevenant, and this is looking like a mirror team. Unable to make the Shadow Ball, and the opponent's counts are absolutely perfect. Gonna send in the Gligar. Gligar is going to commit the final shield, and if the opponent has their own Gligar in the back, then this could get a bit tough, as the opponent, of course, has the 2-0 shield advantage. Galaxkobolten farming up to the back-to-back Aerial Aces here. Opponent is going to let that through. They are still holding onto those shields, but they're finally going to have to start shielding now. This Aerial Ace does get shielded. Opponent will go for the Aerial Ace. Aerial Ace is not going to be enough to knock out here, so we are going to see that Aerial Ace connect. Can Galax make it to another Aerial Ace? He does, but he loses charge attack priority. Oh, that is very unfortunate for him. The Aerial Ace is going to pick up the knockout. Back in comes the Magnezone. Magnezone going to fire off this Mirror Shot. That picks up the knockout. Back in comes the Trevenant. Magnezone continuing to farm at the back-to-back Mirror Shots. The question is the Trevenant at 1 HP here? The Mirror Shot KOs through the shield, because even a shielded charge move still does 1 HP of damage. Speaking of Trevenant, we see it on the lead in the next match. The Shadow Magnezone will save switch into its own Trevenant here, farming up and going for the Seed Bomb. Opponent doesn't have to shield the Seed Bomb here, but it will allow him to potentially make a play for switch, so the opponent is actually going to shield the resisted move. Decision time here, going to shield back as the opponent goes for the Seed Bomb. Opponent now going to send in Carbink, and oh boy, Carbink will not appreciate seeing this Shadow Magnezone. Trevenant is going to go for the Seed Bomb. Even though this is super effective damage, we see that Carbink is just absurdly bulky. Carbink will be able to withstand multiple super effective charge moves here and farm all the way down. But this does set up Shadow Magnezone to get some very nice energy, and Shadow Magnezone up energy is absolutely deadly. The Rock Slide connects. Shadow Magnezone continuing to farm. Oh, the Carbink lives on 1 HP, making it to one final Rock Slide, as that gets Magnezone very low. Is the opponent going to be sending in the Trevenant here, or do we see the final Pokemon? They send in the Trevenant, going to fire off the Mirror Shot. Mirror Shot will deal some solid chip damage, not enough to knock out. In the back, it's Shadow Dragonair. Shadow Gligar does have the pacing advantage in this matchup. Gligar fires off the Aerial Ace. Opponent is going to no shield, and if you're Gligar, you just try and commit to the farm down, because if you can farm down the Dragonair before they get to the back-to-back moves, then the Trevenant doesn't have any energy either, and Gligar does get the farm down. In comes the Trevenant, but it's too little, too late for the opponent, and Shadow Gligar will take that win. Moving into the next match, leading Shadow Magnezone into Alolan Sandslash. Definitely good to see the Sandslash on the lead, especially considering that it is Powder Snow. Magnezone farming up energy here. Opponent does have enough for the Drill Run, but they bait with the Ice Punch. Magnezone continuing to farm. Magnezone at the back-to-back moves here, gonna fire off the Mirror Shot. Opponent is going to commit the shield, and now it is Wild Charge time. Is the opponent willing to double shield in this matchup? Yes, they are, protecting the Sandslash. Magnezone continues to farm. Difficult decision to make here. We see the no shield as the Ice Punch will connect and pick up the knockout. In comes the Trevenant. Trevenant is going to look for a potential one shield farm down here as Ace Slash goes for the Ice Punch. Trevenant is going to get the farm down, leaving with quite a lot of energy. Opponent has Altaria in the back, and this is going to be tricky. Trevenant can deal some very nice damage with the Shadow Ball, but Shadow Ball is something that Altaria can actually survive. Trevenant making it to Shadow Ball number 2, forced to spend all energy to get rid of the Altaria. What is that final Pokemon? It is Jellicent. Oh no, things are not looking good. We're going to see the Shadow Gligar fire off the Aerial Ace. Aerial Ace is going to connect, dealing some solid chip damage here as Jellicent continues to farm. Jellicent firing off energy here, no shields remaining for the Gligar. Surf connects, that's going to get Gligar low, and Gligar is going to play to charge attack priority, and Aerial Ace is going to connect onto the Jellicent. The question is this a range where Trevenant can Shadow Claw down? This will be close. In comes the Trevenant, and it's a tie. What a game. Picking up a positive lead in the next match, Shadow Magnezone versus Abomasnow. Abomasnow, of course, definitely not going to appreciate mirror shots. The opponent staying in this matchup, so it looks like they are core broken by the Shadow Magnezone. Going to be firing off the mirror shot. Mirror shot is going to be shielded by the opponent, and Magnezone continues to farm. Magnezone is going to respect a potential energy ball, but it's an Icy Wind. The Abomasnow running Icy Wind, and now we see a beautiful catch by the opponent as they're going to be catching this mirror shot onto Lantern. Now, there is a hard punish available for the Lantern, but instead of going into it right away, going to rebank energy on the Magnezone and send in the Trevenant. I really like that play. Thunderbolt is going to connect. Trevenant, not the tankiest Pokemon around. Trevenant continues to farm, going for the Seed Bomb here. This Seed Bomb is going to be doing big damage to that Lantern. Lantern is going to be able to make the last second charge move here, and Trevenant is going to let this through. The Surf is going to connect. Opponent sends in Jellicent, and Jellicent is now going to be met with a Shadow Ball. So the energy on Trevenant proving to be hyper useful. Opponent sending back in the Abomasnow, and Magnezone just has so much energy here. Going to fire off this Mirror Shot. Mirror Shot is going to be shielded up by the opponent, and it is on charge attack priority. We will see the shield from the Shadow Magnezone as Abomasnow goes for the Icy Wind. Icy Wind, of course, with that guaranteed attack drop, helping Abomasnow withstand damage, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough. Just sending in the Gligar to get whatever wing attack damage is possible. This Icy Wind is going to pick up the knockout. Back in comes the Magnezone. Magnezone is going to leave with the Mirror Shot loaded. The Jellicent resists Mirror Shot, but the Jellicent has just run out of HP. The Shadow Magnezone keeps taking wins. Moving into the next match, leading Shadow Magnezone into Shadow Dragonair, the battle of the shadows here. Now, Magnezone, of course, is taking quite a lot of resisted Dragon Breath damage. Shadow Magnezone has a massive damage output, but oh my goodness, it is very frail. The Mirror Shot is going to be shielded by the opponent. Opponent is going to be returning fire here with Aqua Tails. Aqua Tail will be shielded up by the Magnezone. Magnezone continuing to farm, going for the Wild Charge. Opponent makes a catch onto Lantern, but guess what, Lantern? That is not a Mirror Shot. That does massive damage. Magnezone is again going to rebank a Wild Charge before switching into the hard counter. I really like this play, understanding that energy from Shadow Magnezone is just hyper useful. And now the Trevenant exits with energy as well. Opponent sends in the Dragonair. We do see the Seed Bomb being fired off by the Trevenant, putting the Dragonair in a bit of a tricky spot. Dragonair is going to commit the shield and fire off energy. At this point, you could just send in the Magnezone and pick up a potential knockout after they get the farm down, or you can just go for energy on the Gligar. Gonna send in the Gligar, looking for energy, as the opponent will fire off the Aqua Tail. Gligar going to give up the final shield in exchange for quite a bit of energy. In the back, it's an Azu, and we see the instantaneous reaction time, sending in the Magnezone. Massive damage from that Wild Charge, and just like that, the full health XL Azu basically just disappears in front of our eyes. Aerial Ace gets the KO, in comes the Dragonair, and the opponent concedes the match. Hopping into the final match, leading Shadow Magnezone into Galarian Stunfisk, the absolute worst case scenario. Gonna stay in to throw 1 Volt Switch and Save Switch into the Gligar. This way, Magnezone does have some energy that it can potentially use later in the game, especially if Switch advantage is flipped. Opponent fires off a Rock Slide, then sends in a Bastiodon. They're running an ABA Steel team. Typically with ABA Steel teams, then the third Pokemon is going to be some kind of a counter user like a Medicham or a Poliwrath. Hopefully it's Poliwrath, as then potentially Magnezone can get a one-shot with a Wild Charge later in the game. The dig connects. Bastiodon, understanding that Gligar will make another move here, is going to fire off the Stone Edge to at least grab a shield. Gligar able to make it to one final dig, hoping against hope to try and flip Switch advantage. The dig is shielded by the opponent. And now I think you almost have to send in the Magnezone here. Magnezone, I mean, this flamethrower is going to hurt. We do see the shield, and now we see the switch into the Trevenant, and it's a simultaneous switch, Trevenant into the Galarian Stunfisk. The opponent pivoting shows that they are strong to that Magnezone in the back, so it is probably going to be a counter user. Trevenant continuing to farm. We see another Rock Slide fired off by the Stunfisk. This will get the Trevenant low, but it's not enough to knock out. Trevenant now going for the Shadow Ball. The question is a Shadow Ball plus the Shadow Claws enough to get the farm down here? Trevenant looking for the farm down and gets the farm down, leaving with energy. Opponent sends in the Bastiodon to absorb this energy. Trevenant going for an undercharge, wanting energy on the Magnezone. In comes the Magnezone in the back. Oh no, it's Medicham. Shadow Magnezone going for the Mirror Shot. Mirror Shot connects onto the Medicham. Now going for the Wild Charge. It all comes down to this. Does Wild Charge KO the Medicham? Yes, it does. ABA double steal gets KO'd by a Magnezone, and that's a good game. All in all, these were some amazing battles, and it goes to show what a talented trainer like Galaxkobolten can do even when running a pretty spicy Pokemon like Shadow Magnezone. For me, these battles are a great example as to why I've pushed to try and get better at this game. Is winning with meta, of course, it's very fun, it's very rewarding, but for me personally, getting good so that way you can get wins with spice. That is what I love most out of this game. So seeing someone like Galaxkobolten absolutely dominating on the global leaderboards with Shadow Magnezone is pretty incredible. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you as always to our members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is sincerely appreciated, so thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.